Myself, Jaivir Shah, and today we are going to learn about the engineering thermodynamics chapter number 2. For this video is basically meant for the GTU students, but if you are a mechanical engineer, if you want to revise the fundamentals, you go through the index and you can use it. Let's start the video. I request you to watch the video till the end. At the end of the video, I will ask you two of the basic questions. If you are able to answer those questions, it means you are getting this video. Index. As per the syllabus of the GTU, Gujarat Technological University, Engineering Thermodynamics subject 2131905 subject code. The second module of the subject is first law of thermodynamics. The first law for the closed system undergoing a cycle and change of state, energy PMM1 perpetual motion machine of first kind. First law of thermodynamics for steady flow process, steady flow energy equation for the nozzle, diffuser, boiler, turbine, compressor, pump and heat exchanger. Two parts are remaining till now, bottle filling and emptying process are remaining now. That will be covered in the next video, but till that all the points are covered in this video. You can check the syllabus from GT website. Let's start with the first law of thermodynamics. In this thing, what you need to understand, you need to understand this certain graph, correct? This much portion that you need to understand. Cyclic integration of delta W is equal to cyclic integration of delta Q. We all know what is the first law of thermodynamics. First law of thermodynamics is energy neither created nor destroyed. It can be converted from one form of energy into another form of energy. Correct? But in case of first law of thermodynamics, whenever it is applicable to a closed cycle or a closed system, at that time we need to use this equation, cyclic integration of delta W is equal to cyclic integration of delta Q. Let's see its practical application. So first law of thermodynamics for the closed system means cyclic integration of del Q is equal to cyclic integration of del W. What is cyclic integration? Cyclic integration means whenever the work produced by the system, it's called positive work. Whenever work required by the system, it's called negative work. Whenever heat added into the system, it's called positive heat. Whenever heat removed by the system, it's called negative heat. If you are not getting those points, revise the video twice and thrice. Try to understand these points clearly. Then and then you are able to apply this rule. Okay, so in this case, what we are doing, what is cyclic integration? Cyclic integration means if a system possesses two one work into the system, suppose it is 20 kilojoule, and one work produced by the system, suppose it is 10 kilojoule, then cyclic integration of work means work produced by the system minus work required by the system. So here it is 10 minus 20 means minus 10. Now cyclic integration of del Q means what? The heat added into the system, suppose it is 30 kilojoule, and if we want to find out what is the heat removed by the system, at that time we can apply this theorem that cyclic integration of del W, which nothing but minus 10, is equal to cyclic integration of del Q, means heat added into the system minus heat rejected from the system. So heat added minus heat rejected is equal to cyclic integration of del W, which is nothing but minus 10, So we are getting Q amount is equal to 40. So 30 is the heat added into the system minus heat rejected, which is denoted by the Q. So here it is the cyclic integration of del Q, and this is cyclic integration of delta W, which is nothing but work produced by the system minus work required by the system. So that's why it is comes that heat rejected from the system is nothing but 40 kilojoule. First law of thermodynamics for a closed system undergoing a cyclic process and a change of a state, which gives us the equation that Q minus W is equal to delta E. Suppose let's take an example that if you are giving heat to a water from 25 degree till 125 degree, so that water will able to give you the work of MCP 125 minus 25, correct? But in order to convert heat at 100 degree centigrade from liquid form into vapor form, the latent heat of vaporization is required. That latent heat of vaporization is not able to convert into work form because it is internal energy of the system. So if you are adding heat, that will be added into the heat amount. So the total amount of heat is equal to work obtained plus latent heat of vaporization. Means Q minus W is equal to E2 minus E. I hope you are getting those points. If not, then please comment on the video. I will explain it in a better manner in the separate video if you require. Energy as a property of the system. This phenomena is generally asked in the GTU examination for 7 marks. Let's see how to solve it. In case of property, energy is a property of the system, what we need to do? We need to take energy as a property of the system, correct? How we can say something is a property of the system? The property is defining the state of the system. If something is property of the system, it means it need to define the state of the system. If it is able to define a state of the system, then it is called property of the system. Let's take one example. Temperature. What is the state of the water at minus 4 degree centigrade? Correct? Solid. It is ice. What is the state of the water at 10 degree centigrade? Liquid. And what is the state of the water at 110 degree centigrade? Vapor or gaseous. It means temperature is able to define the state of the water. That's why temperature is a property of the water. So anything which is defining the state of the matter, that is called property of the matter, and that is point function. It does not depend upon the path, it will depend upon the point. So here we are taking internal energy, means delta E. We are saying that it is a point function, not a path function. It means internal energy is a point function, it is not a path function. So let's see how it is a point function. Means it is not path function, then we can say that it is point function. Here I am taking 3 processes on a PV diagram, that 1 to 2 are the endpoints. 1 is the initial state, 2 is the final state. There are 3 curvatures through which this cycle can be completed. One cycle is cycle number 1 to P to 2 means cycle is coming from the initial state by taking the P path to the final state, and then from 2 to Q to 1, from 1 to P to 2 and 2 to Q to 1. And I am applying the first law of thermodynamics, undergoing a change of a state over here. What it gives me for the QP path, it gives me delta EP plus WP, and for Q path it gives me delta QQ is equal to delta EQ plus WQ. I'm summing up these two equations over here, so it gives me QP plus QQ is equal to delta EP plus delta EQ plus WP plus WQ. Now, as per the first law of thermodynamics applying for the closed system, cyclic integration of del Q means summation of heat is equal to summation of work, which is nothing but QP plus QQ is equal to WP plus WQ. It means delta EP plus delta EQ is equal to 0. So we can say that delta EP is equal to minus delta EQ. Now another cycle will be 1 to P to 2 and 2 to R to 1. So I am applying the same theorem for the 1 to P to 2 and 2 to R to 1. Then and then it could be a cycle, because it's a start from the 1 and then coming to the 1. That's why it is called a cycle. Process number 1 to P to 2, it follow the path of P. So QP is equal to delta EP plus WP and QR is equal to delta ER plus WR. Again summing up these two equations, then applying theorem that delta Q, cyclic integration of delta Q is equal to cyclic integration of delta W, which is nothing but QP plus QR is equal to WP plus WR. Then delta EP plus delta ER is equal to 0 and delta EP is equal to minus delta ER. So delta EP is equal to minus delta EQ and delta EP is equal to minus delta ER. It means delta EQ is equal to minus delta ER. These two paths are different, Q and R path, but still the value of the internal energy are same. It means internal energy value does not depend upon the path. As path changes, but internal energy does not change. That's why it is called not a path function. It means it is point function and it is property of the system. If you are not understanding this word point function and path function, do not worry. I will upload the another video of the point function and path function surely. But understood well thing that property means point function. If anything is a point function, that is called property of the system. Okay, that is that kind of thing that you need to assume right now. I will upload the next video surely on it. Now perpetual motion machine of the first kind. What do you mean by PMM1? PMM1 means if you are giving only a single amount of heat to the engine, and only once you are giving a heat to the engine and it is producing W continuously, then it is called PMM1, which is not possible. So that only one time existence of the input, the continuous output cannot be generated. In the same manner, if the one time work is given to the system, it cannot generate the infinite times of heat out of it. Correct? So this is the fundamental of the, it is impossible to construct an engine which receives Q amount of heat only once and producing W amount of work for the infinite time. In the same manner, it is not possible to construct a machine which will receive W amount of work once and it will produce the Q amount of heat out of it. But the machines or mechanisms which are tends to PMM1, it is not PMM1, it will stop after a long period of time. That kind of example, I am having one example of it. You have already seen this images before that. This is very famous toy which is called the fidget spinner, that I am taken as a PMM1, not a PMM1 but tends to PMM1. It means the once you are rotating it, it will rotate for the half an hour and for the 20 or 30 minutes. So it is something like once you are giving an input and it will give you an output of for some period of time. So that's why I am I'm just giving you a glimpse of it, that this kind of equipment we are moving forward, that if we are getting more amount of energy out of it, then and then we will succeed in the engineering. So this is one of the tends to PMM1, not PMM1. It is tends to PMM1 toy. Now steady flow energy equation. In case of steady flow energy equation, Q minus W is equal to delta E. So Q minus W is equal to, instead of delta E, what is written here? That is out energy minus in energy, which is summation of internal energy plus flow work, means enthalpy, plus kinetic energy plus potential energy. If these three energies are summing up, then it would become a total amount of internal energy. And if the outlet section minus inlet section inlet energy are combined together, then it will become delta E. Delta E means E2 minus E1, where 2 is the outlet section minus inlet section. So this is the steady flow energy equation as per the first law of thermodynamics. Now steady flow energy equation for different things. So steady flow energy equation is nothing but H1 plus V1 square by 2 plus Z1G plus Q by M is equal to H2 plus V2 square by 2 plus Z2G plus W divided by M, as per the previous notation. Now for the nozzle, what is the function of the nozzle? To convert the pressure energy into kinetic energy. In case of nozzle, we are assuming that the nozzle is insulated, well insulated, so that the Q and the W term, it will not produce any kind of work, and it will not produce any kind of heat exchange between it. So Q and W are 0, so if this are cancel out, Z1 is equal to Z2. Z1 means the distance of the center point to the reference point, and distance of this center point to the reference point, both are having the same distance. That's why Z1 is equal to Z2 elevation. So Z1 will be cancel out, Q will be cancel out, W will be cancel out, and the velocity at the outlet of the nozzle is far higher than the velocity at the inlet of the nozzle. That's why V1 is lesser than the V2. So we are taking V2 over here. So what the equation would be? H1, this is 0, this is neglected, is equal to H2 plus V2 square by 2. So here it is the equation, H1 is equal to V2 square by 2 plus H2. So V2 will be is equal to under root 2 times H1 minus H2. This can be extended up to under root 2 times CPT1 1 minus P2 by P1 raised to gamma minus 1 upon gamma. Sometimes in the GTU this will be asked in this manner. So if you want to familiar yourself with this derivation, then please pause this video and go through it. If you are not understanding it, then please comment. I will explain it in a better manner. This is very simple, that H1 is converted into CP T1 and T2, then the adiabatic process equation is used. T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 raised to gamma minus 1. That's it. There is nothing more than that. Again, coming to the diffuser, in case of diffuser, the same phenomena is used for nozzle and the diffuser, but in case of diffuser, V1 is higher than the V2. V1 means this inlet section and V2 means this outlet section. So here we are considering V1 instead of V2. In case of turbine, turbine is a work producing device. So H1 is equal to H2 plus W divided by M. Other all things are neglected. In case of compressor, compressor is work consuming device. That's why W will become minus. Work producing device, W will become positive. If the system producing the work, it would be positive work. If system required work, it would be negative work. If heat added into the system, it is positive heat. If heat rejected from the system, then it is called negative heat. So over here W is take minus. In case of boiler, the heat will be plus because burner adding heat into the boiler. So that's why I'm taking H1 plus Q divided by M is equal to H2. Other all things are neglected. V1 is equal to V2, Z1 is equal to Z2, and W is equal to 0 because boiler is not work producing device. In case of heat exchanger, we are taking two flow of water. One is the M1 mass of water, which is cold water coming in the white color, and the hot water coming out from the white color by taking heat from the yellow color water. So another water is hot water coming in at section number 3 by with M2 mass, and cold water coming out at the section number 4 with M2 mass. So whatever heat received by the M1 mass, that is heat rejected by the M2 mass. So based on this, applying steady flow energy equation for the section number 1 and 2, here heat is received or absorbed by the system, that's why heat is positive 1, and here heat is negative 1, that's why here equation would be M1 H2 minus H1 and Q is equal to M2 H3 minus H4. So the ultimate equation would be M1 H2 minus H1 is equal to M2 H3 minus H4. It is very simple, very basic things. Another all the things you need to take assumption of it, that Z1 is equal to Z2, V1 is equal to V2, and W is equal to 0 because heat exchanger is not work producing device. Next, please subscribe this video if you like it. This is based on the engineering thermodynamics subject. If you have friends studying in the engineering third semester, please share it because it will be useful. It will be as per the syllabus of the engineering thermodynamics. Comment what do you feel. If you are having any difficulty, please comment it. Until your comment, I am not able to understand what should be the questions in your mind after this explanation. Okay, what is the first law of thermodynamics for the change of a state? What is the equation of it? Correct. Q is equal to delta E plus W. Next question is, energy is a fill in the blank of the system. Correct, property of the system, because it is point function, not path function. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for your support. Please subscribe. Please tell others to subscribe this channel so that I will able to produce such kind of videos for you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.